On February 25, 1984, 19-year-old Donna Dima Chao died in a terrible accident. Her body was dumped in a poor grave without any thought. For almost 40 years, no one knew the truth about this terrible crime. The case was not fully solved until the killer tried to kill another woman. Why did it take almost 40 years to figure out what happened? What key piece of information helped bring justice at last? Hi and welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, please consider subscribing, as it helps us motivate to create more intriguing content for you. Let's have a look at the 1984 twisted cold case, finally solved in 2023. East Windsor is a township in the state of New Jersey. It is known for being the suburb and for being close to Trenton and Princeton, which are both big towns. East Windsor has a mix of places to live, places to shop, and outdoor scenery. There are many parks, recreation centers, and cultural attractions in the township. This gives residents and tourists a lot of chances to do things outside and get involved in the community. Even though it was a peaceful place, it was the scene of a terrible crime. Donna Dima Chao's journey started in the town of East Windsor on October 16, 1964. Her parents, Betty Lou Thompson and Ronald Wayne, loved her very much. In 1969, Donna's younger sister Julie joined the family. When their mother Betty fell in love again and married a guy named Garland, it changed Donna's life. Together they made a new family, and Donna and Julie welcomed their new life with the help of their beloved dad. She also thought about becoming a model. Julie thought Donna was a shining star who never gave up on life, no matter how hard things got. On February 25, 1984, a Saturday night that seemed normal, Julie Michaud, who was 14 years old at that time, was relaxing at her family's East Windsor home when she saw her sister Donna's car stopped outside. Julie went down with Donna to the basement, where they watched scary movies until 2 a.m. Julie went upstairs to her room and got ready for bed. Their mother Betty and husband Garland were sleeping upstairs and did not hear any strange noises or disturbances coming from the basement. On February 26, 1984, Donna was supposed to go to work at a law firm the next day. Her daytime absence did not instantly raise red flags. But when dinner time came and Donna had not come home yet, her mother started to worry. Betty was worried about her daughter's health, so she went downstairs to check the apartment in the basement. When Betty went to Donna's flat, which was usually clean and well kept, she found a mess. Inside those walls, it was clear that there had been a fight. The sight of bloody clothes and other signs made her feel even worse, so she called the cops right away. When the cops got there, they carefully looked through the whole basement for any clues that might help them figure out what was going on. They found faint fingerprints near a table near the bed. They thought they might be important, so they took them as proof. In March 1984, as investigators looked for solutions, they made a terrible discovery. Near a sewer plant, about a mile from Donna Michelle's house, they found her abandoned and bloody car. But even with this clue, the puzzle of how she disappeared stayed the same. Investigators spent a lot of time looking through many records and talking to people who lived near Donna Michelle's house, hoping to find any clue that could lead them to the truth. During this time, they were suspicious of several people, including Nathaniel Harvey, who lived in East Windsor and used to work on a farm nearby. Harvey had been caught and put in jail because he was suspected of being involved in a string of attacks and a disturbing murder in the Plainsboro area. But none of the leads worked out at that time, not even Harvey. The detectives found a suspicious body fluid in Donna's bedroom, which was a big find. They sent it to be tested, but DNA testing was not as advanced back then as it is now. At that time, the tests were not accurate enough to find out where the body fluid came from. But the detectives did not solve the case. They hoped that one day they would find solid clues that would help them figure out who killed Donna. Donna's dad could not handle the weight of the tragedy, and he died just 6 months after Donna went missing. This meant that the family had to deal with their sadness on their own. Even so, the family did everything they could to find the killer. They got the help of private detectives, spies, and even psychics. They put everything they had into the work and spent every penny they had. They never lost faith. They did not give up on the idea that maybe, just maybe, their loved one was still living in some way. They could not get rid of the idea that she might be hurt. After trying everything to find out who killed her father, in 1987, Julie and her mother made the hard choice to move to Texas. They were looking for peace and a new start, but bad luck got in the way of them getting better. Their storage unit was broken into and valuable memories were stolen. The thieves stole family pictures, cherished items, and 16 boxes full of investigation files without any compassion, which made the pain even worse. There was not any news for 11 years. Then on April 2, 1995, a Boy Scout troop told cops that they had found a dead body near a cranberry farm. The body was in bad shape and it was almost all gone. But when they saw what they had found in the dental records, they could not believe it. The body of Donna Dima Chao was the missing piece of the puzzle they had been looking for a decade. Her body was hidden under a carpet in a wooded area near a cranberry farm not far from where her car was found. After her body was sent for an autopsy, the first results suggested that Donna had been shot in the head, which was very sad. But as the investigation into the case went on, the experts at the Middle Assault Regional Medical Examiner's Office carefully looked at her remains and learned more. They found that she died from a head injury, but they could not say for sure that it was a shooting wound. Still, the cause of death was reclassified as proof of homicidal violence. This means that her death is still considered a homicide. Even with this important piece of information, the probe came to a halt, and the case became one of the unsolved mysteries. Angelo Onofre, who was a prosecutor in Mercer County Breakthrough, has reopened the case in February 2022. The case was then given to the Office of Public Integrity and Accountability, Central Regional Cold Case Task Force, a specialized group within the statewide cold case network, which was set up by the New Jersey Attorney General in 2019. As part of the renewed investigation, all relevant physical evidence, such as DNA samples, was carefully sent back to the Central Regional Laboratory of the State Police. The goal of this step was to use advanced forensic methods and technology to find the truth and get justice. Modern DNA technology was a big part of how new information about the case came to light. The Attorney General's office was shocked to find that the body fluid found in Donna Michelle's bedroom fit Nathaniel Harvey's DNA profile perfectly. It stood out because it was the only piece of DNA in the room that could not be found. Nathaniel Harvey was born in East Windsor in 1942. He had a rough life. He was always getting into trouble, and he spent most of his life in prison. He got married in 1968, but no one knows who his wife was. Harvey had done a long number of bad things, and the West Windsor police called him a brave intruder. He was found guilty of assault, and it was said that he would sneak into houses that were not locked, take young women hostage, and do violent things. In their search for justice, the police always thought of him as a possible suspect. Irene Schnaps was one of these people who lived in East Windsor. From 1984 to 1985, there were a lot of break-ins in Plainsboro, West Windsor, and other close towns, which worried the local authorities more and more. They were also dealing with the unsolved murder of Irene Schnaps and the strange loss of Donna Dima, who went missing from her family's East Windsor home 16 months after Donna Michelle. Irene Schnaps had just lost her husband to cancer. This was another sad event. The event happened during the night of Saturday, June 15, 1985. One of Irene's coworkers went to her apartment the next morning when she did not show up for work. They were worried about her health. With hands that were shaking, he told the cops what he had seen inside the apartment. The inspectors were horrified to see that Irene Schnaps had been hit over 15 times in the head with an axe or hatchet. Irene's dead body was lying on her clothes, and her bloody bedroom was a horrible reminder of what had happened. In the middle of the scary scene, a bloody footprint was found on a pillowcase. This was an important clue that could help solve the riddle of how she died. Peter Stowasser, who was 41 years old, and the first person police wanted to talk to, came forward to talk to them. He knew Irene Schnaps and said he was the last person to see her living. After revealing to Irene how he knew her, the course of his life abruptly changed. Subsequently, he began experiencing frequent visits from the police, culminating in his apprehension and subsequent interrogation at the Middle Assault Prosecutor's Office on June 17, 1985 about Irene's demise. Stowasser disclosed his romantic interest in Irene and his desire to pursue a relationship with her. However, due to the recent loss of her husband, Irene had expressed the need for time and personal space. Despite this, Stowasser remained friendly, inviting Irene to social events. Unfortunately, with Irene's untimely death, any possibility of them being together vanished. The cops got a search warrant for Stowasser's house and found white work gloves and a metal strip with reddish spots in his car, as well as a quilt with what looked like blood stains. Stowasser said that the spots on the quilt were from the period blood of another woman. Even though Stowasser took a lie detector test and had a history of stalking, he was not the main suspect because his shoe size was much bigger than the bloody footprint at the crime scene. Nathaniel Harvey, the second suspect, became known on October 28, 1985, when he went on a crime run in West Windsor. When he tried to take a 13-year-old girl, he got into a fight with a homeowner and then ran away. Harvey had a troubling habit of scaring his victims with axes. He was caught by the cops after they saw him, and he admitted to a series of break-ins. Harvey told the police that he had taken another girl hostage before killing Irene. The 13-year-old girl knew for sure that Harvey was the one who hurt her. When the police looked through Harvey's car, they found Irene's Seiko watch, which directly linked him to her death. Harvey first admitted to killing Irene, but later took back his confession, saying he was forced to do so. Irene Schnaps was killed in 1986, and Harvey was found guilty of killing her. But in 1990, 4 years after his sentence, the state Supreme Court overturned it. The court said that he should not have been forced to say what he did without being told his Miranda rights. Harvey said that he was forced to say what he did, so he quickly took back what he said. This made people wonder if his first confession was true, and it started a discussion about whether or not he should have been reminded of his Miranda rights. After Harvey talked to his father, the question of whether or not he confessed became a source of disagreement as different stories came out. Harvey's lawyer, Avid Kleiner, said that Harvey had denied admitting to killing Irene. This went against what the police said, which was that Harvey had confessed to the crime. Even though the statement was not recorded, the original conviction was overturned because the court said Harvey should have been reminded of his Miranda rights when he asked to talk to his father during questioning in 1994. As the case went to a second hearing and sentencing, the blood at the crime scene became a key piece of evidence. The prosecution showed DNA evidence that showed Harvey's blood sample and the stains on a box spring in Irene Schnaps' flat had the same genetic traits. Even though the DNA tests were still in their early stages, they showed that Harvey could not be thrown out as a suspect. Experts from the prosecution used a method called dot intensity analysis to figure out how similar the blood found at the scene was to Harvey's DNA. This helped their case. They found that only 1 out of every 1,400 African American people would have such a match. The security experts said that the ratio could be as low as 1 in 50. Harvey was found guilty this time and given the death sentence. But in 1997, a split state Supreme Court supported this decision, even though some justices had different ideas. In his dissenting opinion, Justice Alan B. Handler looked at the 64-page analysis of the DNA tests in the case and said he had doubts. He was confident that either the state or federal court would likely overturn the decision at some point in the future. On May 15, 2005, new information came out, which was a surprise. Harvey's lawyer, named Kleiner, pointed the finger of suspicion at Irene's old friend, Peter Stowasser. The cops once thought Stowasser might be a suspect, but they later ruled him out. Kleiner said that Stowasser was involved in both the case of Irene and the killing of Donna Mitchell, who went missing in East Windsor in 1984 and whose body was found in 1995. Kleiner's claims got a lot of interest and made the front page of the New Jersey section of the Sunday New York Times. Kleiner strongly disagreed with the blood DNA evidence that was shown at Harvey's second hearing. He said it was wrong and tainted. Also, he asked for more DNA tests on other pieces of evidence in the case, saying that they could have pointed the finger at Stowasser. Kleiner was worried that some evidence was missing, like hair from the quilt. He was also suspicious about how the hair that was found was labeled. He said that all the technicians' notes and microfilm about the hair evidence had suddenly disappeared. This made him think that the hair evidence never existed. Kapsik, who kept working as a prosecutor in Middlesex County, was very sure that Harvey was guilty and said Stowasser had nothing to do with the crime. Kapsik says that Stowasser was at first thought to be a possible suspect in the case, but he was eventually ruled out as a top suspect. The deciding factor was finding a bloody shoe print in a size 6 on the victim's pillow, which did not match Stowasser's size 12 foot. It is interesting that the story did not say that Harvey wore size 6 sneakers, but Kapsik made it clear that Stowasser's participation was just a coincidence and not proof of his guilt. In April 2007, Judge John F. Malone of the state Superior Court made a ruling that ended Harvey's hopes for a new hearing with evidence and threw out his habeas corpus challenge. He threw out Harvey's 1994 conviction, which was originally a death sentence, because he did not get enough legal help in the early 1990s. Harvey, who is 65 years old, would still have to serve a 70-year sentence for a different crime. When New Jersey got rid of the death penalty in 2007, his 1994 death sentence was changed to a sentence of life in jail without parole. Before this change, Harvey had been on death row for 20 years, even though the state had not killed anyone since 1963. But Harvey died in the State Woods State Prison in Bridgeton at the end of November 2020, making it impossible to look into anything else. In a big surprise, it came out that Peter Stowasser was thought to have killed Donna. In 1995, Donna's bones were found about a mile from where the crime happened with Irene. People said that Donna and Stowasser were both taking classes at Mercer County College in the fall of 1983. After Donna went missing, Stowasser did not go to the spring session classes he had signed up for. Stowasser says that even though he went to Mercer County College, he had no idea who Donna was and had nothing to do with her. Harvey was also linked to Donna Mitchell because her body was found in a wooded area near a farm where Harvey had worked for a short time, which made people suspicious. The fact that her abandoned car was found near a sewer plant, which was just a short walk from Harvey's house, added to the mystery. Because of these strange events, the police turned their attention to Harvey and looked into the chance that he was involved in the case. In the last week of April 2023, New Jersey's Attorney General Matthew J. Plotkin finally revealed that the person who attacked and killed Donna had been found. The state's Attorney General said that the case was finally solved when detectives looked at this puzzle from a new angle. Colonel Patrick Callahan, who is in charge of the New Jersey State Police, said that even though it has been 40 years, the memory of a young life that was taken in a cruel way still haunts the minds of those who loved her. The person who killed her put her body in a small grave and forgot about it for more than 10 years. However, time cannot put out the burning desire for justice. Even though the person who did it died in prison in 2020 after spending time on another terrible crime, that does not make this long-awaited resolution any less important. Thanks to the hard work of the Central Regional Cold Case Task Force and the committed state police forensic scientists, the victim's grieving family now has a little bit of peace. In the end, the drive and hard work of law enforcement and forensic experts show that there is no time limit to doing what is right. Thanks.